Good morning, everyone. I am tasked to report Chapter 16, Rizal as Nationalist. This report is continuation of report of Mr. Adrian. Rizal's concept of Filipino nationalism. Nationalism as a concept was developed from its humble beginning in 1872, particularly for the poor people in the Philippines, whose Rizal and other reformers at the time had a scant idea of what it is all about. Rizal said, Rizal said, "The reasons that originate in the lack of national sentiment are still more lamentable and more transcendental. The lack of national sentiment brings another evil, moreover, which is the absence of all opposition to measure are prejudicial to the people and to the absence of any initiative in whatever may redound to its good. A man in the Philippines is only an individual. He is not a member of nation. He is forbidden and denied the right of association and is therefore weak and sluggish." So, in this praise, Rizal specifically mentioned national sentiment, which connotes a sort of feeling of affinity or oneness towards the nation. Also, the lack of it means the absence of all opposition that could harm the interests of the people, and the lack of interest to do whatever is good for its welfare. According to Rizal, nationalism is a concept that involves a feeling of belongingness and uplifts the spirit of oneness among fellow countrymen. Rizal emphasized the importance of national unity and the pursuit of national interest for the betterment of the Filipino people. He believed that nationalism should be a basic building block in achieving national unity and progress. Rizal's views on nationalism were influenced by his experiences and observation during the Spanish colonial period in the Philippines. Rizal's concept of nationalism is parallel with Hans Kuhn, where it strives toward achieving homogeneity within the group or sharing of common feeling, which is almost similar with Rizal's national sentiment. While John Schumacher shares that a revolution presupposes a people with consciousness of its own identity and unity as a nation, wherein it is the creation of that sense of national identity was the work of propaganda movement, where nangita og common identity as rallying point of the people para sa kausaban na makaapekto its either be reform or revolution. Then, sa Family Encyclopedia states that nationalism is the desire of members of the nation that to govern themselves and to protect their interests even at the expense of outsiders. So there it has been an exclusively powerful political force. George Orwell concurs that nationalism is the habit of identifying of oneself with a single nation, where it is recognizing no other duty than that of advancing its interests and those of people who have find themselves having major commonalities on their own initiatives resulting to their identifications of themselves as a single nation. Rizal showed his national sentiment throughout his career, even as a youth through his poem A La Juventud Filipina, which was dedicated to the youth, for them to strive hard because they are considered the fair hope of the motherland. Di ba ingon si Rizal, ang kabataan ang pag-asa ng bayan. Rizal go, I must wake from its slumber the spirit of my country. I must first propose to my country, my countrymen, an example with which they can struggle against their bad qualities, and afterwards, when they reform, many writers will rise up and present my country unto proud Europe. Rizal nurtured the same ideas during sa iyang pagbinata nagsuwat siya Noli og Elfeli og mga personal na mga liham para tawagon ang mga kababaihan na i-continue ang ilang battle against sa friars, poverty, illiteracy, and ignorance. Kanita na efforts kay para ma-achieve iyang goal, which is ang kamatanan sa tanan para makuha nato ang atong freedom. Rizal believed na this type of nationalism kay mahimong reason nga mafrita sa friars of Spanish government. Factors in the early development of Rizal's nationalism. Rizal's concept of local nationalism was influenced by 300 years of Spain as an imperialistic conqueror. As I said earlier, Rizal's views on nationalism were influenced during Spanish colonial period kung unsa kagrabe ilang government. Spanish system government characterized by greed, racism, and condescending attitudes, so that's why tungod ana early development of Rizal's nationalism was made. So naay lima ka factors. Number 1, he emphasized the importance of the Tagalog languages and its impact upon the Philippines. Narealize ni Rizal na national culture was needed para ma-develop ang sense of nationalism. Muna, as a result, he often write in Tagalog and talk about writing as a means of educating the Filipino. Rizal created a sense of Philippine history and defined the rule of Tagalog in the direction of local history. Number 2, he was openly critical of the friars. Tungkol sa injustice in the Cavite, the haughty attitude of many friars prompted Rizal to hammer away on the iniquities of the church. Also, he was openly critical of the Hacienda land lease system and he called for its abolition. Number 3, he defended Filipino civil rights. Katong iyang mama na priso, Rizal exposed the double standard of justice that Filipino had faced since Magellan. Not even the well-to-do Indians were safe from Capricorn's whims of the friars or the Spanish government officials. These concerns were important to Rizal, lalo na didto sa execution of sa Gomburza which outraged him. 4, he discovered the power of the pen. So grabe ka powerful sa pen kay tungod ana nasuwat niya ang iyang mga literary works na maoy ga-provide foundation sa Filipino nationalism. Labi na to iyang duha ka novel na Noli og Alfali, speeches and miscellaneous writings helped to form the nationalist historical tradition nga ato gi-embrace karon. Number 5, he conceived a form of gradual nationalism. What Rizal demanded was education, a commitment to Filipino culture, and a vision of bright future. He was a person who believed in nonviolent resistance to Spanish religions, military, and government ideas. There were 4 separate reasons for the emergence of modern Philippine nationalism. Tungod sa execution ni Rizal, naka-create sila ng modern Philippine nationalism. Number 1, the city of Manila and its relationship to the Spanish government and the church helped to foment revolution. So, ang Manila ang sentro sa Spanish tension dati. That's why the process of Christianizing the Indians through secularization was failure. In many respects, Manila was the focal point for new Philippine nationalism. Number 3, the Chinese mestizo who came in as a merchant and emerged as a nationalist was one of the many factors that hastened the drive towards the defined Filipino nationalism. After achieving some degree of economic success, the Chinese traders produced an offspring known as mestizos, who became an unseen political force in the Philippines. Number 4, backwater. Nationalism implies a highly developed form of government that took place in the Philippines. It describes Rizal's Calamba nationalism or Bonifacio's Katipunan vision for the Philippines. Backwater nationalism suggests that extensive of local government. The earliest Filipino patriotic uttering began in the 1860s and continued to flourish until the Revolution of 1896. As Rizal was executed, these 4 forces combined to help create a permanent sense of New Philippine. Leon Maria Guerrero stresses that Rizal was not only the first Filipino, but the tribe mover in the Asian nationalism. That's all. Thank you and God bless.